What's up guys, I'm Vivi and welcome back to the channel. Now there's actually another very cute and unique platformer which is in the works. It's being developed by Sumo Digital. They've developed a bunch of games and maybe a lot of you are familiar with this one. It's called Little Big Planet 3. Now this game they're working on is called Snake Pass. We're pretty much going to control a character who doesn't have arms and legs. Now who specifically came up with this idea? Seb Liese. I have no idea if I pronounced his name correctly, but this guy, he was part of the Little Big Planet team back then. Back in 2015, Sumo Digital had this internal game jam where developers gather around to simply come up with new ideas for games and stuff like that. And there was this judging panel and stuff. The point of the game jam was to come up with an idea within a short amount of time. The winner would have their game fully developed and published. And guess what? Seb Liese, he brought Snake Simulator during the internal game jam. That was his first prototype. They were impressed by all the physics. And actually, this guy had 2 snakes in university. That's what inspired him, I guess. Pretty much, we can also say that this idea happened on accident. And here's why. Seb, at one point, he was trying to figure out the Unreal Engine 4. He was messing around with this rope. Once it fell to the ground, he was impressed by what it did, the shape it made. And since he had 2 snakes, he probably told himself, hey, why not turn this rope into an actual character? Why not come up with something unique? Let's turn this rope into a snake. Anyways, once the game fully entered development, the team expanded, and the company decided to make the Snake Simulator something a little more cute and colorful. Eventually, some concept arts were being worked on, and this one right here is what started this whole cartoony art style. Once they saw this, they told themselves, let's go with this. Seb, he was a fan of banjo-kazooie, Spyro, Crash. He used all of that for inspiration as well. Seb himself even said that these days platformers aren't that present anymore. And you know what? The team decided to make something very unique. Create a 3D platformer. Why not make a snake the main character this time? And talking about platformers overall, I think 2017 is the year. So what are we looking at right now? We're looking at a snake. We're controlling a noodle basically. And actually his name is Noodle. No legs, no arms. You have to slither around. We wrap around poles to make our way up. It's pretty much a puzzle game. It does look simple, but we have to learn how to master the controls. The physics in this game, they look incredible, not to mention the visuals. Very bright and very colorful, I love it. Snake Pass. Initially, if the snake fell on the ground, the player would have to repeat the whole course over again. The team thought that that was too much of a hassle. They decided to remove the floor, not completely as you can see. This time, if we fall, we return to a checkpoint. And I'm not talking about simply falling on the grass. I'm talking about, how can I say this? When you're completely out of bounds. Here's what the game looked like before. This was after the prototype. It was less bright, less lighting. We had to collect 4 flags and 10 golden eggs. There was a timer before. I don't know if they completely removed it, but they decided to take it out and allow exploration instead. You know, a lot more freedom. Now these golden eggs have been replaced by wisps, these blue glowy things you notice on the top left corner, and the flags I'm assuming have been replaced by the glimmers. We have to collect 3 glimmers to activate the mystical gates, which transport us to other areas. As for the whips, we collect them and we unlock abilities, and some of the gates will actually require a specific amount of wisps. We haven't seen much yet. As for the number of worlds, I think they've confirmed 4 worlds, and we're talking about 4 elements: fire, wind, water, and earth. The gameplay we see right here is in the earth level, and all of these worlds will have many areas. And according to Seb, each area can be completed in about 3 to 4 minutes if we're not collecting anything. 20 minutes if we take the time to collect everything. Now some of you might ask, what about the length of the snake? Can it get longer? The team initially had the idea to make the snake a bit longer by collecting items, I'm assuming, but they just realized that the body would just drag you down and that was a hassle, so they decided to stick to one length only. When I first saw the trailer, when the player was collecting wisps, I thought that would make the snake longer. You know, you can reach higher platforms more easily, but the point of this game is to master the controls. You have to figure out how to make your way up there. Do we know anything about the controls? After watching a few interviews, it was explained that the left analog stick is used to move the body left and right. The right analog stick is used to accelerate. Usually a snake doesn't move in one direction, right? It curves. The same thing applies for this game. If you want to move faster, you have to think like a snake. If you move left and right and use the right analog stick, then you're gonna move faster. And if I remember correctly, you press the A button to move your head, and I think that's the X button for the PS4. For the story, apparently the snake's friends moved up up, they've migrated, and our mission is to make our way up there. Once we start collecting glimmers and unlocking other areas, we're gonna figure out who displaced all of those glimmers. The villain, pretty much. And by looking at this official art, I'm assuming that bird with the red eyes is probably the villain. Now, Noodle does have a companion, it's a hummingbird. That bird is pretty much going to be our guide. And we do notice that the bird is helping out Noodle at some point, lifting him up. Anyways, once I first saw the trailer, the music gave me a Crash Bandicoot vibe. I don't know if some of you have seen the trailer, but it does sound like Crash Bandicoot. Or it's probably just me. Now guys, I am glad to see 3D platformers see the light of day. For the release date, they said the first quarter of 2017. It's going to get released on a bunch of platforms: PS4, Xbox One, PC. As for physical copies, I think this game is only digital. The game is still in development. It's not fully finished yet. There was EGX Rezzed and EGX 2016. What they showed during those events was a demo which they had purposely made for EGX. That was the only world that was pretty much finished, if I'm not mistaken. And the world which we see in the demo, like I said, is the Earth level. Now guys, everyone who's working on this game has said that the game will get very challenging. Like, some areas will barely have any platforms. Basically, there's going to be a lot of thinking to do. But anyways, I'm gonna end the video right here. Tell me what you think, guys. If you've seen this trailer before, what was your first impression? The game looks awesome. It's like a puzzle game. It's very unique. Controlling a snake? I mean, that's something new. Well, except Nokia game. But really, when it comes to 3D platformers, this is something new, and it's great. So yeah guys, if you have anything else to say, mention everything in the comment section below. I've been Vivi, and thanks for watching.